Hello, 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 Body, Mind, and Soul Connection Network. We're so excited today to bring you a featured provider from within the group here. I'm sitting with Elizabeth Kipp, who's a stress management and historical trauma specialist, and we're going to talk to her today, do a deep dive on what she does and how she can help you. So thank you so much for being here today, Elizabeth. How are you?
I'm great, Michelle. Thank you so much for inviting me in. And I'm so glad to have a chance to talk to the group.
Oh, well, and you're in Lawrence, Kansas, is
Mhm.
that right?
I am.
Center of the geographical center of the US.
That's
That's
correct.
amazing. And can you give us a little bit of information about how, like stress management and historical trauma specialist? That's a pretty specific thing. How did you arrive at that? Tell us the story of how you came to be a provider in these services.
Sure, thank you. I uh, I suffered with chronic pain for physical pain, but was also mental, emotional for 40 years. And the doctors kept saying, you can't heal from chronic pain. You have to live with this for the rest of your life. And I was like, that's not an answer. I was just, I knew there was an answer that they just didn't have it, but I knew there was one out there. So I suffered, I was on, the best they had was opiates and benzodiazepines for the pain and the anxiety. And, uh, and I was on those for 31 years. And finally, I found a doctor who actually knew the nature of chronic pain and how to heal it and how to get me off all that medication. And his name was Dr. Peter Prescott. He wrote a book, Conquer Chronic Pain and an Innovative Mind Body Approach, which he left us. I went into his program in 2013. He passed away in 2017, but he left us with this beautiful book. And uh, and I walked into his program with 40 years of chronic pain, and I walked out 52 days later with no pain. And
Amazing.
he had a 94% success rate in that program. So it wasn't like I was some like outrider. It was just like everybody, he had really good results in that program. So anyway, when I got out of that program, I was told by the counselors there that there was a 90% relapse rate in the first year just on the drug use end. They didn't even talk about the chronic pain piece. They were just talking about that particular habit, and I was devastated at the number. I was like, A, I'm doomed, statistically, and
Right.
B, although I had beaten the odds before, so that was going to stop me. And I was also like, well, what's wrong with this model that we're only getting a 20% success rate? Right? We got to do better than that. I started out as a social scientist and then I went on to be a researcher in biology. So I knew about models and systematics and and orientations and assumptions and all those things. And anyway, so I had all that background, and I was like, when I get out of here and find my legs in my own recovery, I'm going to spread the word that you can heal from chronic pain. This is how you do it. And having walked it myself, and part of that, so that kind of was the background. Part of that was um, not only understanding stress in the body and how to grow the capacity for resilience and what happens when our stress response gets out of balance, but also in Dr. Prescott's program. John Newton was a wellness practitioner there, and he brought in ancestral clearing. And
Mhm.
I didn't know anything about that practice when I first met it, and and was completely stunned by the results. Um, and so not only was Dr. Prescott teaching us about the brain and the nervous system and really kind of how our machinery is operating and how to bring it back into balance. But they were bringing in the effect of the lineage as a factor.
Hmm.
And
So it
and
was both, yeah, the physical and the spiritual.
well, it was this physical, well, so the model, so the approach in that program was you can't separate mind, body from spirit. So that's kind of not the reductionist model that straight up Western doctors have. And then there was this piece about, yeah, it's the past in this lifetime, but it's the energy of the past, period. Full stop. So, and I was very impressed by the and that was a thing for me. That ancestral piece was something that I knew when I was four. Like I knew when I was 4 years old. I literally was sitting in the living room looking around at my family going, what am I doing at this family? And I couldn't ask any more of a question than that, but I felt the weight and I didn't know what to call it, but I felt it. And I didn't know until I bumped into this practice
Right.
gratefully, right?
So,
That stuff was the lineage, was the weight of the lineage that my
right.
parents and grand that I was carrying because I came in with it. Yeah.
So that you're re-expressing, it's one thing to clean it up in this lifetime, but re-expressing, it's not going to continue to heal if you don't kind of take a look at the where it came from as well. Well, and so when you're working with people and you're delivering your services, how do you serve that? Do you work one-on-one with
Hmm.
people, or do
Mhm.
you do groups, or what kind of format does your
Sure. So I have a bunch of different sub things that I do under stress management, historical trauma specialty. I do a big because of my own uh, needs, really, because I don't teach what I haven't already experimented with and found to be effective. So I'm a certified yoga teacher and a specialty, well, in three different lineages, including Kundalini style yoga. And I'm an addiction recovery coach. And right, so and then I'm an ancestor clearing practitioner. I did a year studying. I'm certified in Dr. Gabor Mate's compassionate inquiry, and so I have this mixed bag, and I work with individuals who are in chronic pain or stressed out or are trying to find their sleigh legs in their recovery. Maybe they relapsed and they want to come back and maybe find their steadiness in their recovery. Um, and I work with across the board anybody interested in their ancestral stuff. And I do that. I do all of that one to one or in groups, online or in person.
amazing?
So it's just kind of a matter of like I do local stuff here in the greater Kansas City area, and I don't do anything here at home. Um, I don't have an office really appropriate for that, but I work around online like every day somewhere on the
Okay.
planet.
Okay. Amazing. Well, I really am interested in that part about the stabilizing the relapse. Like what that how that struck you. That that it's no. I mean, you find out where it comes from, you heal it, but then you don't want to go back. So, what's the most common problem that people who are having trouble keeping that stability in their recovery that you mentioned? What's the most common problem they face, and what's your best tip for them to
Wow,
stabilize their
that's a
recovery?
that's a big question. I'm going to have to answer that big question with a big answer, a kind of a general
That's okay.
answer,
That's okay.
which would be anyone who is looking out there for their fulfillment and missing the inner landscape. When we're busy out there distracting, avoiding, pushing away this, we're going to have difficulty finding stability in our life because there's plenty out there to distract us. just like it's a whole
And
thing.
I'm sure you've seen a wide variety of things, so you'll be able to help people kind of go, "Oh, yeah, I recognize that," or and as they work with you individually to be able to cut in their specific case,
Well, I'll bring
sort
it
out
down. Yeah, I'll bring it down to now. So, um, January came this year. This is 2025. January came in with a rather stiff wind, in case anybody didn't notice. I noticed. And and I was like, okay, with the whole game just up leveled because there was more distraction. At least that's the way I saw it. And I was like, how am I? So I kept noticing how the distractions, I was I was ceding my power to the distractions. My focus was going there and it was drawing my power. And I was like, this is not okay. So I needed to rebalance, right? Rebalance. And so I was like, how am I going to do that? And I was like, okay, I see. So I brought in a new mantra, which was focus, think cosmically, act locally.
Hmm.
Think cosmically, act locally. So I'm always remembering that my North Star is my connection to the divine. And within that context, what is my next step?
Yes,
And
amazing.
that was, you might call that cosmic blinders. That was just,
Right.
it was a way for me to, like, kind of
Tune
keep,
in and tune out at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah, I was like, I gotta stay focused here. In Star Wars, I saw Star Wars the year it came out, the very first, movie, and the mantra that stuck with me the most, other than the force is with you, was stay on target, which was the what the guy said when he was trying to get to the Death Star in that little alley, right? And the guy at headquarters says, "Stay on target." Stay. Well, that ended up staying with me, and I kept hearing, "Stay on target," right? So think cosmically, act locally, stay on target. That's the answer. I mean, that's like a kind of a general answer. And so the next question would be, how do you do that? But I'm just like,
Oh,
that
that's
would be
amazing.
the exploration. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that focus too. I know sometimes as a new entrepreneur, like if you're or you're just getting into health and wellness, supporting, learning how to support people online or as a wellness provider, it's hard to retain that focus because you're busy trying to do all the things and promote yourself and do the work and all the other things. If you could give any advice to a new wellness entrepreneur, what would you what would you say that is?
Yeah, I would say believe in yourself and breathe between the words,
Mm, awesome.
which is also
Yeah,
good for life. But for an entrepreneur, that was what kept me steady.
amazing. Thank you so much. How can people get a hold of you? And do you have anything you wanted to else you want to share about things coming up? Or
Oh,
we'll make
sure.
sure that we've got your links in
Uh-huh.
on the videos here, and that people can get a hold of you.
Sure. I'm really excited to offer an ancestor clearing workshop. It's a 2-hour ancestor clearing workshop. And the theme is clearing that which haunts us. And it's October 16th. It's online, 6:30 to 8:30 Central in the evening. And there's a replay if you can't make it. Those groups are very powerful and a lot of fun, and we'll be covering generally that which haunts us, which is like anything that's sticking around from the past that's bugging us. But given the time, we'll definitely be clear. We'll be looking at the winch wounds, patriarchal wounds, and um, persecution wounds. those kinds
Amazing.
of things. Yeah. So,
Well,
but
that's
all
very
of it, but
apropos
those
for
are,
October. So thank you so much for
yeah.
coming and sharing today. And you guys connect with Elizabeth. We'll make sure that her links are in the comments. Thank you for being a resource here in the group for people seeking wellness providers in this area. Elizabeth, it's been amazing to have you. And yeah, if you would like a one-to-one featured provider interview, you can join Connection Circle if you haven't already, and then we'll do a deep dive with you on your services as well. So thanks very much, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.